Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the world's fastest gamer qualifier, the Australian-New Zealand split, and we're here for round 3 tonight at Monza. Your commentary team tonight is myself, Bernie Weemers, and I'm joined in the combox by Alex McCullough. Welcome Alex, round 3 already mate.
Yeah, g'day Bernie, g'day everyone at home. Great to be back here at this historic Italian circuit here at Monza. Look for some great racing here tonight. Round 3, as you say, it's going to be track full of action tonight as these guys stretch the legs of these cars. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, that's for sure, and they're out there qualifying at the moment. And if we have a look at our top 10 qualifiers, we've got Stefan Schmidt on 123.738, followed closely by Steve Jansen in second. Julio Scrinzi is third at the moment. Oh, he's just been knocked down because Matteo Calestani has just snatched pole. In fifth is Anders Breathhorg. I hope I got that right, Anders, but he's sitting in fifth at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. Great to see Tim Hendrickson out there, someone we're familiar with in the other junior categories of the open wheelers, Bernie, most particularly in the skippies, sporting the lovely Dutch livery that he always does in whatever he races, Bernie. So great to see a familiar face out there, and hopefully he'll put in a good performance tonight.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on him. That's as this race progresses. Of course, 20 laps around Monza tonight, folks, and it's going to be interesting. As far as I know, no fast repairs. And what's the incident limit tonight? I think it was 20, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we lost a driver last week once they hit 20 incident limit points. Of course, your standard official races are 16. I guess they're catering in this to all ranges of new and established drivers, because this is open. It's not licence restricted, as we talked about a bit last week. Normally the F1s and official races are limited to A-class or professional licence holders, but even tonight we've got 2 rookie drivers in Jose Antonio and Inha Vicente de Vera. They're both rookie drivers, licence holders at least, coming to test their mettle in this fantastic competition, Bernie.
Yeah, it's definitely an awesome competition, and I'll tell you what, it's heating up in the points table. If we go and have a look at that now, folks, this is as they stand now. Of course, they've got a couple more races, including the race spot official broadcast, which will be coming in a day or so. But Davy Decour from France at the moment, he's leading, and he's sitting on 675 points, and he's a pro driver. Then we've got Freak Skohorst from Benelux in second on 588 points. Then we've got Michael Partington from UK and Ireland. He's a Class A driver, 4.99, and he's on 587 points, so he's very, very close to snatching second at the moment. Zoran Jonjic from Central Eastern Europe, he's on 484 points, and he's a Class A driver. And then Jan von der Heide from Diach, 451 points, and he's a Class B licence holder. So it's very close to second and third at the moment, but they've got a bit of work to do if they want to catch Davey.
Yeah, of course, all these guys here in those points competing for a shot at the final 10 it is for the world fastest gamer. The winner of the competition overall gets a shot to be a test simulator driver for the McLaren F1 team. So plenty to play for. Of course, 6 of those spots were reserved by a panel of experts, and one of those spots, remaining 4 at least, goes to the winner of this championship, Bernie. So like I said, plenty to play for.
Yeah, definitely is a lot to play for out here tonight. We can see now George Esquet Ontoria, he's from Iberia. He's sitting in 4th at the moment, finishing his final qualifying lap here tonight. We'll keep an eye on him, see if he can improve from that 4th position. Currently, I don't think he's going to. No, he's well out of time as he's coming down the line now, and he's had a bit of a slow one and doesn't improve on that time.
No, looks like Stefan Schmidt's just pulled up short of the line there, Bernie. He's managed a 123.7, just 3/10 off our pole sitter Matteo Celestini. from Italy. Great to see these guys out. I'm pretty sure we've had Stefan a few times in this race, Bernie. He's certainly a familiar name from last week at least. Steve Jansen, the top of the Australian qualifiers, half a second off pole. He's about we've got Cameron Leggett out there in P13, who's yet to set a time, and Tom Mensforth, the other local representative, Bernie. Looking forward to seeing how those guys match up against the rest of the field.
Yeah, we just saw Cameron there hitting the Armco very hard, so hopefully that's not an omen for things to come for him. But let's have a look at our grid. 14 drivers are lining up tonight. Matteo Calistani from Italy, he has pole. Stefan Schmidt is sitting in second from France. We'll have Steve Jansen, the Australian-New Zealand driver, in third. Georges Esquet Ontario is fourth. Fifth, Tim Hendrickson, followed by Julio Scrinzi in sixth position. Out of seventh tonight will be Anders Brathhog, followed by Edu Villa. Jose Antonio is from Iberia in ninth. Out of 10th tonight is Inha Vicente de Varia from Iberia. Then we've got Miguel Villalobos, that'll do, from DH in 11th. 12th, Tom Mensforth from Australia. Out of 13th is Atish Dabizing from International, and then Cameron Leggett from Australia will start out of 14th.
Yeah, 14 car field, heading around for the 20 laps, I think it is tonight, if I'm not mistaken, Bernie. We talked about it last night. A lot of grip at the start, but it's only through managing your right foot that you keep grip towards the end, and that's where it'll be decided. I imagine there'll be a few races decided at this first chicane as well.
Yeah, well, the revs are rising now, and we've got 20 laps to go. Nice clean start, but hold on to your breath. They've got the chicane to go through at the moment. I'm looking at the positions. We've got Stefan Schmidt, great start. He takes the lead from Steve Jansen in second. I think Matteo, who's been caught napping, he's dropped down to third. Tim Hendrickson fourth. Julio Scrinzi, he's in fifth, but he's battling at the moment with Georges Esquet Ontario. But it looks like a clean start. The only driver that did not take to the grid was Tom Mensforth.
I tell you what, Stefan Schmidt got a cracking start there, Bernie. He left Matteo Celestini in his dust. Although he looks like he's just had a bit of contact there with Matteo, who'd gone, I beg your pardon, Steve Jansen, who'd gone on the inside there. He looked like he got a poor run out, but then made a really unfortunate contact. He's managed to gather it up as he heads down the back straight at the moment, Benny, but an unfortunate way to kick off after having such a fantastic start.
Yeah, we're just having a look at that replay, and he ran into the back of Steve there. I think he might have been caught a bit unawares at how much Steve might have braked. I'm not sure, but he had a great start. He's in fifth now with wing damage, but at the moment the Aussie Steve Jansen, he's leading this race, and he's got, though, Matteo Calistani breathing down his neck.
Yeah, the pole sitter, of course, had a pretty poor start, it has to be said, and Steve Jansen now making every post a winner, I should say. The fifth-ranked driver in this field. He's got a clear track in front of him and a hard-charging Matteo sitting in behind him. But of course, we shouldn't see the DRS available this lap. They've just crossed the detection zone, if I'm not mistaken. The activation zone, of course, is around here on this front straight. They'll be approaching it now. It'll be interesting to see if it's open. I don't think it's until the third lap that they get it, though, Bernie.
Yeah, that's right. Third lap, that should be open. Tim Hendrickson also has had a good start there. He's sitting in third at the moment and up 2 positions from where he started.
Yeah, well, we see Steve Jansen really early on there into the first chicane, going defensive, forcing Matteo to be patient on the outside. No move made. Tim Hendrickson, I should say, sitting in P3, up 2 positions off the grid at the expense of Stefan Schmidt, who we saw earlier in that earlier incident. Stefan now up to P4 and chasing them down at the stage as they head through that second chicane through the Lesmos, Bernie.
Yeah, and looking at one driver that has had a problem out there is Inha Vicente de Vera. He's out there now. He's had to go in for 85 seconds to get that car repaired. Still on the lead lap, but well out of contention.
Yeah, he must have had a tow or something at that point, Bernie. As you say, he's on the lead lap, but as he heads through the second chicane, I should say, took a big bit of the curbing there. Oh, and he's spun out again. Perhaps not his night. Rookie licence holder, perhaps not a great deal of experience in these cars, Bernie.
Yeah, and we just saw Matteo take the lead from Steve there through the chicane. Good driving by both there. They went too wide, would you believe, into that first chicane, and Matteo's taken the lead, and now we'll see what he can do, because at the moment Stefan Schmidt, he's trying to catch up. He's 4 seconds down, but he's setting some pretty fast time, so I wouldn't be surprised if he catches up to Steve by the end of this race. And we'll see what he can do now that he's out of traffic. But at the moment, your top 5 folks, Matteo Calistani, Steve Jensen, Tim Hendrickson, Stefan Schmidt coming down on Tim now, and then George Astoria, oh my goodness, from Iberia. That's your top 5.
Yeah, some challenging names out here for the likes of you and me, Bernie. A lot of Europeans here, of course. The open wheel is their passion, and F1 in particular. So many of them who wouldn't necessarily normally race these cars, maybe having a lower licence class or just not able to find suitable times, they're coming out tonight and have a bit of a bash. So it'll be interesting to see how the less experienced drivers go. I mean, I'm riding on board with Stefan Schmidt at the moment, who's coming up the front straight now. The DRS flap goes open, and it's just like he's had an extra bit of boost of speed to fly past Tim Hendrickson as they come down into the first chicane. Tim just pulling him behind, but I know Tim hasn't had a lot of experience in these cars, so it'll be interesting to see how he manages. Oh, as he gets the yips, he was in about 4th gear or something there, and the thing's still trying to let go. There's just so much power in these cars, Billy.
Oh, they've got a huge amount of power there, and it was interesting to see Steve Jensen down here as well, because he's got DRS. He still wasn't, he still didn't make a pass there, but I guess he's going to have to stay within the 1 second range to keep that DRS. He's, at the moment, he was 0.975, so he's just going to have to keep on the back of Matteo and see if he can get that DRS.
Yeah, well, he just went through then the detection zone. I think he's 1.1 now, so it'll be interesting to see. I'm just hop on board his cockpit, because one of the good things about iRacing these days is you can see when the little lights come on. There's 2 little green lights on the left. There's one when you go through a detection zone that tells you that you'll get DRS in the next activation zone, and a second one which actually comes on to tell you that it's active in the activation zone. And when you hit the button, you then get an extra bonus 2 lights to tell you that it's actually open and in action. And then, of course, as soon as you hit the brakes, it all closes up again to your next opportunity. But unfortunately for Steve, he's now about 1.5 seconds behind our leader, Matteo, and none of that has come into play at this stage, Ben.
Yeah, and the rest of the field is stretching out quite a bit. The closest is probably Anders Brusshorg here. I hope I pronounced that right, from Scandinavia. He's trying to chase down, is it Jorge from Iberia at the moment, but that gap is 1.3 seconds as we see them now go past the camera.
Yeah, Anders just sitting in behind George there. He's I've got him down at just under the second, so it'll be interesting to see, because I think there's either a 2 zones or a funny detection zone here. If we hop on board, there's his cockpit view there as I head through the second of the Lesmos up the back straight here. Again, he's dropped to 1.3, so it wouldn't have even mattered here, Bernie. He was within that 1 second before he went through the Lesmos there as they head up to head up to Ascari now on lap 5, the tail end of it at least, or the tail end of it, lap 4 for these guys, as the leader's already on his 5th lap. Oh no, he's just coming around the final corner now to cross the line at the end of lap 5, Bernie.
Yeah, and that gap was 1.5 seconds, but now we can see Stefan Schmidt coming down the start-finish line. He's closing at a great rate of knots to Steve Jensen, and if you want to demonstrate DRS from the cockpit, this could be the car to do it in, because I reckon he's going to be within that 1 second mark.
Yeah, I'm just on board with Miguel back in P9. He's got the 1 green light, Bernie. He's chasing down Jose Antonio in front of him. 2 green lights, 4 green lights. The rear wing's open, and he's chasing down Jose in front of him, P8. Oh, he comes up so close and grabs a brake just in time. He's right on the tail, chasing down P8 at this stage. Oh, Jose didn't quite get the drive out of there. Oh, gee, see the yips in front of him. I tell you what, you wouldn't want to hook up your car and have someone with the yips in front of you. Let's just see how these 2 go.
Yeah, we'll see if Miguel can get past Jose down here under brakes. He's hanging back, so He's probably, here he goes, he's going to make a move now, I think. No, he won't. Probably wait until he gets down past Delesmo here and see if he makes a move into Ascari.
Yeah, well, the green lights come on for the second DRS activation zone there through the second of two Lesmos. 2 green lights, 4 green lights, we're off again, off to the races again, Bernie. He got a poor run through there. I must admit, I thought Jose Antonio was a little bit, certainly was defensive, but he was a little bit left and right on there, really not... Miguel clips a bit of the inside on the tail end of Ascari there, Bernie. He'll be looking still within that second 6/10 now. It'll be interesting to see how he goes through this next DRS zone, Bernie.
And looking at the gap from Steve Jansen back to Stefan Schmidt, he's just about he's just under the 1 second gap now. So he should get DRS, but here goes Miguel on Jose, and see if we can do it under brakes here.
Well, I'll tell you what, I reckon, it looks, I don't know if we see the battery in these cars, Bernie, but we're not seeing the battery level, but it looked like Miguel did everything there. It looked like he hit the rocket boosters. He hit the DRS, and I assume he used the battery in a push-to-pass fashion there. Lot to do in these cockpits, Bernie, but whatever he did, it worked, and look at him, he's taken off already. He's grabbed P8 and he's off to the races with it.
Yeah, he passed him like he was standing still, didn't he? And this time we've got Stefan Schmidt coming around. He is within the 1 second mark, and we'll see if he gets DRS. I'm looking at the green lights, as you said, and when do they start lighting up, Mr.
Oh, he'd have it by now, Bernie. He was actually 1.1 seconds out through the detection zone at that point, Bernie. So he'll have to wait for maybe the back end of the circuit, because there are 2 on this track. Coming certainly down this straight, he hasn't got it. He will get a little bit of sniff of the draft there as he just closed into about 0.9 now at 1 second. Of course, these cars are not only very taxing on the driver's skills, but there is quite a great deal of engineering in the setups here. So depending on how skillful the guys are with that, or whether they've got a team behind them helping them out, that'll determine both their pace in different parts of the track, how well they go down the straights or through the corners, but also things like tyre wear and how hard they have to manage their tyres throughout the race. Stefan Schmidt now, he's just gone through the first of the Lesmos now. I think he's passed the detection zone. I might be just here now. I think he's passed it already, and he was just a fraction outside that detection zone. Now, of course, he's within 1 second, but that doesn't help him at all because the green lights weren't there for him. You'll have to wait for the next one.
Yeah, we just had Julio Scrinzi. He's also just retired from the race, so we're going to jump back and have a quick look at that and just see what happened to him. Looks like he's done it all by his lonesome.
Yeah, I can't find it quite yet. I'm going to have to try and find it.
Oh yeah, just after us, Lesmo there into the wall under acceleration, and that's the end of his race. But let's jump back to Stefan Schmidt now, as he got the DRS. I didn't see it open, but he's closing in on Steve Jansen. Steve's doing a great job here in second at the moment, and meanwhile, folks, Matteo Calistani, he has romped ahead. He's starting to lap Inha Vince de Vera already, and Inha gets out of the way, but here comes Steve Jansen and Stefan Schmidt. They won't want to muck around when they get to this lapped car. They're going to want to clear him pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Heading through the Lesmos now, past the 100 mark of the first one. Certainly this time Stefan Schmidt within half a second, so we should expect to see the tail end open up shortly. He's got the 1 green light, got the second one now, 4 green lights from their way. The DRS is open and he's got that extra booster speed. Look at that though, he didn't run to use the draft as well. He pulled over to the left as they head through Ascari now on the tail end of lap 9, Bernie. There's a second DRS detection zone coming up. Probably or potentially fancies his chances more in the second, in the front straight DRS zone, Bernie. He's certainly within that second now. The green light's on. He's been through the detection zone as they head through the Parabolica now. 1 light on as they head just over the line. A bit past the line is where the second activation, or the first, depending on how you look at it. And they hit that zone now. All 4 green lights. It's like that jetpack's come on again, although Steve taking a defensive line on the inside. No need. doesn't quite look like Stefan's got the legs down the straight, Bernie.
No, well, I was watching it when he put the DRS on just to see how much it kicked up. It didn't move hardly anything at all, probably about a kilometre. He peaked out at about 335 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, it's interesting. It could be down to the setup. I mean, when I first started coming to this track, I thought it needed more downforce than it does, and those in the know would suggest that it's actually a lower downforce track than you expect. So it could be that Steve's set his car up to have a high or a low amount of downforce. So Stefan Schmidt now has got the one light coming to the second DRS activation now. The flap comes open in that zone, and again, he's over on the left-hand side. Steve not even having to take a defensive line. I don't know if he's using his battery to defend in those zones or what he's doing, but he got the yips out. Here we go. Stefan Schmidt now out of the second part of Ascari down on the parabolic. It just makes a nice clean move. Steve Jansen all but let him have it there, Ben.
Yeah, and Steve's tucking in behind him. Of course, Steve won't get DRS, but Stefan will jump on with Steve and just see what happens when what his top end speed is without DRS. And we'll just have a look. He's pretty much peaking out without DRS. 338 kilometres an hour, so he's actually got the legs on Stefan, and we'll see the difference when he gets DRS, if he gets it, if he can hang on to the back of Stefan long enough. But meanwhile, folks, Matteo, he's cleared out 4.1 seconds, and we just hit the halfway mark. Our retirements, Tom Mensforth did not make the start. Julio, we saw him retire after hitting the wall. Inha Vincente also got towed, but he's circulating one lap down in 12th.
Yeah, Steve Jansen now, he's got the green light for the DRS activation, comes into the zone now, 4 lights now, all active, but he's sort of dropping back now. Stefan Schmidt, he made that pass work, and actually Steve did a little sneaky. You may have missed it there, Bertie, in that when he got overtaken, I should say, he actually slowed down so that he got the DRS down that front straight, if you can believe it, rather than Stefan. So he tried to play a bit of cat and mouse there, but throughout the rest of that lap, he didn't quite hang on to it. He's still within the 1 second, though, as they go through Parabolica now on the tail end of lap 10, coming on to lap 11. He's still got DRS. The one light now, the 4 lights are all on, but it looks like he might struggle to hang on to the back of Stefan at this stage, Bernie.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Stefan's coming up to lapped traffic here. He's got 2 cars in front of him. What are they going to do? Stefan's been balked a little bit. This is going to close Steve up. And what's he going to do? Where's he going to go? He's going on the inside now. The blue Benetton livery steps out of his way, but he did balk him a little bit. Now Steve Jansen, well, Steve goes deep in under brakes and clears that back marker, and now they're clearing their second back marker. I'm just trying to get a name. I'm not sure who that was who was it?
Cameron Leggett. Yeah, Cameron Leggett there. He's clumsily getting out of the way through the Scaries there, Bernie. The 2 Lesmos there. Cameron also cost himself a spot there to Miguel on the way through in amongst all that clumsiness there. But the battle still rages there for the final spots on the podium there between Stefan Schmidt and Steve Jansen. Steve putting on a great performance here tonight, Bernie. Sitting there in P3. He's out of DRS detection, DRS zones now. He's sitting about 1.4 seconds, so he won't get the benefit of DRS. Back there in P4, Tim Hendrickson, he's after a pretty solid start. He's now back in P4, as I said, about 9 seconds off that battle for third, Bernie, having cleared those 2 lap drivers. But quite a solid effort for Tim. I think this might even be his first race in an F1, Bernie.
Yeah, it's quite a solid effort, that's for sure. And we normally see him in the skippies, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. He's very strong in the skippies, Bernie. Great competitor and a bit of fun at the same time. Steve Jansen now still within 2 seconds of Stefan. I think Stefan's got a good deal of pace to burn. I mean, he had that great start and then the unfortunate incident. and in climbing his way back through the field now, Bernie, sitting in P2, he's lost 7 seconds to Matteo out in front, although he's only 1/10 off his fastest lap, so there's only obviously very comparable pace, but just the way the race has unfolded for Stefan, it's not been his night, Bernie.
No, I think it could have been his night up until he had that contact with Steve, but he's made an amazing recovery. I'm just having a look at the front wing because he did suffer wing damage, but it doesn't look that bad compared to what it originally looked like, so he might have got away with that. But looking at your top 10 as they stand at the moment, folks, Matteo Calistani, he has bolted. 6.9 seconds is the gap back to Stefan Schmidt. Well, now it's 7.1 seconds. 2.2 seconds down from Stefan is Steve Jansen. Then we have Tim Hendrickson in 4th, 5th Roger, in 5th, 6th Anders Brothhog, 7th Edu, 8th Cameron Leggett, 9th is Miguel, and then Jose rounds out our top 10, and only 7 cars are on the lead lap out of the 14, and 2 of those 14 have retired.
Yeah, not surprising to have a lower number of cars on the lead lap, Bernie. It takes a lot of skill to drive these cars, and many of the guys, as we suggest, don't spend a lot of time in them, so not surprising to see big discrepancies here, because small little deficiencies are really highlighted in these cars, whether it be, you're not used to the speed or the reactions that you've got to have, all the different things you've got to do in the cockpit, whether it's managing the battery, watching out for DRS, let alone, the actual thought you've got to put into how to manage your throttle, whether it be trying to keep the car straight or managing your tyres at the same time. There's just an immense amount of power in these cars that, like we said previously, the first couple of laps you might be alright, but once you get deeper into the race, it's just an effort just to hang on to these things, let alone put down competitive lap times. So the likes of Matteo up here in front, 7.5 seconds in the lead, I should say, is doing a fantastic job then.
Yeah, and we're going to ride with Stefan Schmidt for one lap around Monza, folks. We'll leave the telemetry up, and Alex and I will be quiet, so you can crank up the sound, enjoy the sounds of a Formula One around Monza. So folks, that was a lap around Monza with Stefan Schmidt from France, and I'll tell you what, Alex, it doesn't take long to do a lap around here in a Formula One.
No, very quick, Bertie. We just got the 5 laps remaining now as the leader, Matteo, is coming into the second chicane now on lap 16 of 20. Supporting and displaying his colours there on the rear wing for his home country of Italy there. He'd be very proud to be leading this race, no doubt, Bernie, as he heads through the Lesmos now, coming through the second Lesmo now. So much grip in these cars. You barely give a little touch to the brake, chuck it down a gear or so, and up you go up the back straight, Bernie. And, fantastic cars around here. Track well suited to them, of course, and a circuit that we see the real cars go to as well, and it's fantastic that they can put these cars on the real tracks, because the results here, of course, go towards that world's fastest game of competition, and the organisers and the people where you'll end up working if you manage to crack that spot, they want to know that you can handle these cars around the real tracks, because that's where the most benefit from them will come, because there's a real job at the end of it, and that's what you got to do. You got to go around a track in a simulator. So great that these guys get this opportunity and put on a great display.
Yeah, it's an absolutely awesome prize, that's for sure. And for the fans of Matteo, he's currently in the world standings at the moment. He's sitting in 10th position on 387 points. So this is going to be a very welcome win here to help propel him up the points ladder. Stefan Schmidt in second from France. He's sitting in 18th spot at the moment on 328 points. So once again, coming home in second, he's going to he's not going to get maximum points for tonight, but he'll definitely welcome that result.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys, of course, potentially using this race as a tune-up because of the stronger popularity in Europe, their time zones, the races that go live in their time zones tend to get higher strength of fields, which is where the bigger points are on offer, Bernie. So potentially the likes of Matteo and Stefan using this as a tune-up race for the bigger points hauls on offer later in the week, Bernie. So great opportunity for them to come out and stretch their legs and show us what it's all about at the same time.
Yeah, exactly right, because over the course of the weekend, it's not just one race. You've got a number of races they can go to maximise those points during the week. And, of course, you've got the race spot broadcast coming up, I think, in a day or so. And I think they've got the final slot of the official broadcast of WFG for the week. But we can see Steve Jansen, there you go, 13.9 seconds down at the moment. And I'm just looking through the field. Anders is closing in on Jorge, but I'm not sure if he's going to catch him. He pulled in 9/10 of a second last time by, but he's a good 5 seconds down.
Yeah, I don't know if you can go back and see Adish Debizing, who's last on track at the moment. He's in P10. He lit it up coming out of the first chicane, just to show you what these cars could do. I mean, it looked like he was in the straight line 1 second, and then next he was pointing perpendicular to where he should have been. So, and that all, of course, right in front of the leader, who then subsequently came by. I think he might have lapped him, Bernie, at that point, and got through safely, all things being said.
Yeah, well, he lost it through Parabolica, and it stepped out there first, and we'll watch him come down now to the chicane, but it stepped right out through Parabolica, and probably a bit hard on the loud pedal, I'd say. But let's have a look. He's also got some front wing damage.
Yeah, it looks like he's pulled into the pits now, Bernie. He's called it a night with just the 2 laps remaining now. Matteo up front, he's off through the first chicane and looking to make every post a winner from here.
Yeah, well, it's really his race to lose at this point in time, because he's got a big gap of 9.4 seconds back to Stefan. And we can see now Stefan just coming out of the first chicane here. 2 laps to go. It's going to go by pretty quick. Well, next 3 minutes, the race will be over.
That's right. 1.5 seconds, sub 1.5 minutes, I should say, around here. So these guys are fairly flying. Of course, Steve Jansen coming down to the second chicane now, making the most of his race tonight. He's got a 15-second gap over Tim Hendrickson in 4th. He's 5 seconds now behind Stefan Schmidt, who himself has actually lost time to our leader, Matteo Calistini, I should say. I think that's how I pronounce it. I'm giving it a crack though, right? He's lost an additional 3 seconds in the last few laps, Bernie, sitting in P2. Steve now nearly 5.5 seconds, so no more DRS or any of those fancy things on display. It's just around how quickly you can get around the lap, Bernie.
Yeah, and one driver we haven't seen much of tonight is Edu Vila from Iberia. He's running in 7th at the moment. He's the last car on the lead lap, and he's up 1 position from where he qualified. So a nice consistent run there for Edu, and it's good to see him out there having a run tonight.
Pretty sure I've raced Mr. Villa in the Skippy, so another open wheeler fan potentially. Great to see him out. There's a few seconds off the pace in these cars. Again, not surprising given the lack of opportunity that some of us have to get competitive races here. With only a handful of races in these categories in the normal official series, making it to official status. But yeah, this is an extra opportunity, and he's making the most of it, Bernie.
Yeah, and meanwhile, out front, Matteo is coming down the back straight, and I need my track map so I sound really... so where is he? He's coming down to Ascari now, and then of course up to Parabolica, then the checkered flag should be waiting for him after that.
Yeah, it's a great run through Ascari, Bernie. It's a lot of fun there. There's a lap car ahead of him now as he heads down the straight towards the Parabolica, the final corner there. Great run from Matteo at his home circuit. Good luck to him. He's done fantastically well. Not flag to flag tonight, but a great job. He did have pole, got a pretty poor start, I imagine, by his standards, and but he's managed to fight back and grab the win. Stefan Schmidt now coming through Parabolica, looking to capital or claw his way back to P2, and he's done a great job with Steve Jansen now coming out of the Parabolica to cross the line in third.
Yeah, and then we've got Tim Hendrickson. He's about 15 seconds down. You can see him coming into Parabolica for the final time as well. He'll be classified in 4th position, and then we'll jump back to Jorge in 5th, and there we go. Tim's very happy with that result. Up 1 position for where he qualified to come home in 4th, and Jorge not too far behind. He's coming through in 5th from Iberia.
Yeah, he'd be pretty happy, young Tim, to grab a P4 in his first crack at the F1s. He overtook George. I think it's George. I'm not sure. The Spanish and the Portuguese pronounce J's differently. I'm pretty sure the Spanish are J, George, but I'll go with George. Tim Hendrickson, of course, overtook George to get his 1 spot up off the grid, but that was a great run for the top 5 overall.
Yeah, and we're just... a pit reporter's just heard from Tim, and he's basically quoted as saying he got everything he wanted, 0 incidents, no crashes, and he's quite happy with that result.
Yeah, why wouldn't he be? That's a fantastic run for him in his first outing in these cars. I think you should be very happy with yourself, Tim. I mean, you got to get out there and have a crack. I'm not sure he had that much practice, so to bring it home in 4th, that's a great effort.
Yeah, we just saw Cameron Leggett, the other Aussie out there. His car's pretty beat up, but came home 8th, up 5 positions. So that's a good, strong run by Cameron. And I'd say he was struggling a bit with that car because it looked like in practice he was wrestling a bit with the high power of these cars. And he's done a great job.
Well, he's done well to bring it home, you know. I mean, he was up 4 spots from where he started just by sheer determined doggedness to get around the track and wrestle the thing home. So he's not a particularly high-rated driver with just an I rating of under 1,000. So to bring it home and get up 4 spots is a great effort.
Yeah, it certainly is. And let's go through the final race results here, folks, so you can see where your favourite driver finished tonight. So Matteo Calistani from Italy, he takes the win tonight, led 18 laps out of the 20. Stefan Schmidt comes home in 2nd. Steve Jansen, he led 2 of those laps after Stefan and him came together on the first lap. So Steve Jansen home in 3rd. Tim Hendrickson from Benelux, he's up 1 position for where he qualified to come home 5th. Jorge, that's what I'm going to call him, in 5th. 6th, Anders, I'm not going to pronounce that surname, from Scandinavia. 7th was Edu from Iberia. 8th, Jose from Iberia also. 9th, Cameron Leggett up 5 positions. Then we had Atish Debizing from International in 10th position, up 3 from where he started. Miguel came home in 11th, and 12th was Inha from Iberia. Looking further down the field, we had Julio Scrinzi dropped 7 positions from where he started, and he retired from the race. And Tom Mensforth, he did take the start, but did not get a lap in. But looking at it, it looks like Cameron Leggett might have been the big mover.
Yeah, he was. Like we said, up the 4 spots, which is it's a good effort to wrestle the thing around the track and bring it home, mostly in one piece. Like I said, he's a C-class license holder with a 900 rating. So the guy in front of him, Jose Antonio, he was 900 similarly and a rookie. So, I think it's a great little thing that they're putting on here, not only for the fact that you can win and score a dream job with an F1 team full time, but the fact that they're opening up and exposing this car to other drivers who may not otherwise get the opportunity. It really a bit of a showcase for the open wheelers, Bernie.
Yeah, it is, and it's that's one of our big things on RRTV, isn't it? Is the open wheelers. We've got it a few times during the week, the skippies, and then we've got now the what are they? Pro Mazda. Is it Pro Mazda? They're running them at the moment on Wednesday nights.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So as far as the rest of the week goes, though, I don't think we've got the Super Skips tomorrow night. So this is the end of the broadcasting for this week. But we'll be back bright and early on Monday night, won't we? And I say bright and early because, of course, daylight savings starts tonight, folks, and we've got to put our clocks forward an hour. So that's going to cause chaos for the ensuing chaos for the next half a week while we try to work that out. So if you're watching from iRacing Live, folks, whatever it says for Monday Night Lights, you can basically count on that starting an hour earlier than what it says on there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The chaos will ensue tomorrow morning when we lose an hour. But, Monday Lights will be at Virginia International Raceway this week. Interesting layout. It's been quite a bit of fun getting around there this week in the Skippy, so looking forward to that one.
Yeah, so that will start at 9:15 p.m. GMT plus 11 for any of the overseas viewers who either want to watch it or the overseas drivers who want to participate in it. So it's always a great turnout, that's for sure, and we're getting quite a big field, a very competitive field, and it keeps on keeping on, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure does, Bernie. We grabbed the highest strength of field of the week last week. The big power split this week in the US didn't pull big numbers. So this track, it's an interesting one. All the track there, it's loved and loathed. The guys who race it love it, and those that don't just don't turn up. So low participation, but still expecting a great race on Monday night because the guys who are there for the championship, they'll be there and putting on a great show.
Yeah, loved and loathed. That sounds like me all over. But anyway, folks, hope you've enjoyed tonight's coverage of the RRTV broadcast of the world's fastest game at qualifier round 3, the Australian-New Zealand split. Congratulations to the podium, Matteo Calistani, Stefan Schmidt and Steve Jansen. And that is the podium. They'll go off and celebrate now. Also, big thanks to you, Alex, for joining me once again tonight. Have you got any final thoughts you want to grace us with before I hit the stop button?
Yeah, thanks again, Bernie, for having me. Thanks everyone for joining in the broadcast, and the viewers at home. Look forward to seeing you all next time.
Yeah, and on behalf of Alex McCullough, I am Bernie Weemers. There you go. My voice cracked. But we'll see you hopefully Monday night. Good night.